Iverson. Wow, what a fake off Daniels as he broke his ankles and got all the way to the cup.
Philly, we're back.
What up? What up?
What is going on? Rich, listen.
Trucking along, bro.
We're just trucking along. Listen we got drunk on the court tonight. We're just drunk on everything that is wonderful about Philadelphia sports right now, which is the Sixers. I'm not speechless, but totally kind of amped up for where it's been to see, the team that has now been on the court for, I guess you would say 6 games. They've had 5 games with Harden. Every game that they've had with Harden has been 120 plus points.
Yep.
Tell me where you are.
I am ecstatic. Like, I don't think I've been this excited to watch. What up, Mike? To watch Chris. What's up,
Hey,
dude?
what's up?
To watch Sixers basketball. Like, it's been such a long time, like since the Iverson days, that I've been so amped and glued and watching every game and just enamored with the star power and the play. Like, the things that James Harden is doing off the ball and the points that he's just creating just by being on the court. It's just it's so fascinating. It's fascinating to see a true number 1A, 1B combo with Joe and James. Like, the beard and the process together is everything that we've wanted, and we have it. Now we can't spoil the riches, right? We make our push. We do what we can do.
Right.
We win a championship because Joe's playing out of his mind. James Harden is only making everybody on the floor better. Tyrese Maxey is just reaping the benefits. Tobias Harris is coming around. Everything is looking great. The leadership qualities that he just presents to this team, the maturity, it's everything that we needed from another leader and another vocal asset on this team. You have Joe and the way that he leads the Sixers through the energy and firing them up. And then you have the silence and the when I speak, you listen in James Harden. They just counterbalance each other. And it's awesome to see, Don. Like, I can't wait for tomorrow. And I can't wait to boo Ben just by sitting on the bench. Like, listen,
and to speak to Adam's point right here, like, being at the game and having, but seeing the pace and the space that's on the floor with these two is incredible. Rich, I got to ask you, your favorite part of Harden's game right now? What's your favorite part of Harden's game?
Honestly, like, I like the way he facilitates. I like the way he runs this offense. Like, he runs this offense effortlessly, and his options are abundant. Like, he can do what he wants with anybody on the court.
Yeah, like, he's able to.
Don, did you freeze out?
Back three.
There you go.
Or the dribble drive pocket pass. Right? Yeah. Between those two, his ability to be able to get guys on the floor, the ball in space, you're seeing how much he's attracted to the defense is attracted to him.
Yeah.
In the way that he's able to dish, and then his ability to use that step back or to roll around that screen and be able to drive right to the lane, get the fouls. Don't underestimate that on-court rest for everybody. But you've seen Matisse, right? His game is now he's not relying so much for him to be shooting threes anymore, right? He's more in that slasher dunker spot. Maxey's getting anywhere he wants on the floor.
Joel Embiid is the ultimate cheat code, Don.
It's
like incredible. It's so great. Amen to that, Mike.
Yes.
Ben Simmons. Yes.
Absolutely.
He can do whatever you ask of him, and it just makes Harden's game better because he's multifaceted in what he can do, whether it be playing from outside, playing up playing top of the key, playing foul line, playing post, playing down on the block. Like, he can play wherever, and James Harden just rolls with it. Like, it's not – I don't think it's like any player that Harden's ever played with, that he has these options that are so abundant.
Yeah,
and he has so many tools at his disposal that he can use just with Joel Embiid, because he can do it all.
Right.
And it's fascinating to see Harden and Joe click on that level.
And Mike, I think anybody who is watching basketball right now, to say that there's a more valuable player than the way that Embiid is playing right now, you cannot make a case for another player that is playing better, that is contributing more. So yeah, I mean he's got to be, whatever the odds are, it's got to be plus numbers to be able to get him. And for me, like, I look at where they are, they still have room to grow, right? Yeah. They've only played together for 5 games. So you've got them in a place where you're in the 2 seed, right? You're 3 games behind the Bulls. And there's not, and we talked about this last week, but right there's not a guy that really scares you that's going to match up with Joe at all.
No, there's not.
And to kind of like peek ahead at the schedule, right? Obviously, we got the return of the Nets tomorrow. We got you're going to have Simmons back in the building. He's going to be supposedly on the bench, on the floor.
Extra security, just in case, like it's such a clown box move, because what are people going to do to you? They're not going to throw things at you. They're going to boo you.
Right.
That's it, dude. Like, why are you and this is what pisses me off. And I don't like to victim blame, but when you set up things like this, like a circus things are now going to happen.
Right.
So now things probably will be thrown at him, which I don't want, because I think it's stupid for people to do that. But the added security and the stupidity of people,
right,
you're egging everybody on. If you were to come to work as business as usual and just willingly accept the booze,
right.
Let's be real, Don. When I played sports, down at that high of a level, obviously, I am a 5'10", 198-pound white dude who could shoot free throws and didn't develop a jumper until after high school. So let's be real. But when I played organized sports, I was a bad guy. I appreciated when my other team, who was full of my friends, would boo me, or the people in the stands would get pissed off because I did something stupid. I embraced it. You have to embrace the villainy or the hero, right?
Yeah.
You can't sit there
and I think
and not accept anything.
Right. And Mike, you're right. Like it happened when you played Washington in that playoff series, right? And all it took was for one dude to pour popcorn, and you're right. Here's what I would say. If you go down there to do some stupid shit like that, you are just further reinforcing the narrative that we constantly are saying we're not. So go boo, say whatever.
If you're spending that type of money to do that shit, you're a fucking moron.
You're an idiot.
Rule 1, if you're spending $300 on a ticket to get banned for life, to be an asshole, you're a moron. Right. And you probably should be chemically castrated.
Oh,
so you cannot reproduce. I will send you to South Korea and do what they do to the convicted sex offenders, because it's stupid. Go there, have fun, cheer your team, and boo the hell out of Ben Simmons.
Right.
That's all it takes. He's a fragile, emotional midget. If you boo him, he will cry. Just boo him.
Yeah,
that's all you have to do.
Yeah, you don't have to go out there and do anything special.
No.
Like, if you want to come up with some creative chants, right? Like I heard a bunch of people on the radio coming up with a bunch of creative things to say. Great. Like if you want to You want to turn your back on him when whatever you want to do, just don't throw shit. How about that? How about
what they should have done was had a Ben Simmons night for tomorrow and hand out clown wigs and clown noses to everybody. That would have been great. That would have been hilarious because he's a clown. And
it would have been great. Like I heard someone saying, they should have a Mr. Softy truck driving around the building as the Nets are pulling in.
Oh, that'd be funny. That'd be great.
Right. Like, you know what? Like go down, have fun. But, at the end of the day, I think what you have to realize is that we've already won this trade.
Yeah.
We've already won. Like, so let's take that and look at that and say, are we significantly better than we were when we started? We're light years away from where we even started at the beginning of the season.
Agreed.
So in my mind, like I look at this this upcoming stretch, right? Brooklyn is, it's still going to be a game tomorrow, right? You're still playing KD and Kyrie.
Yeah.
The matchup is going to be great to watch. I think what's being kind of underplayed is that the Harden aspect, right? The Harden interaction between him, because him and KD, him and Kyrie, right? They were contentious, right, on the way out. I think there's some gamesmanship there, but like they've got a couple of good games coming up where you're really going to get a good test for where a good barometer for where they are. The game in Orlando is what it is. It's going to be what it's going to be, right? Don't be surprised if one or both of those guys gets a rest night in Orlando. But then you got Denver coming in. You're going at Cleveland. You got Dallas at home, Toronto at home, Miami at home.
Tough stretch, but you'll see what they're made of.
But yeah, so you're going to see exactly where they are. You're going to see what they got going on.
Do the Heat scare you, Dom?
No.
Okay. Yeah, me neither.
No.
They were talking about that on NBA Live, and I'm like, why are we bringing up the Heat?
No, like if I'm –
because Oladipo's back? Okay. He hasn't played basketball in like 3 years. Okay. And he'll go out next game, and he'll twist his ankle, and all of a sudden a bone will shoot out of his ass. That dude is made out of fucking glass.
Oh my God. Rich, like there's not the only team, honestly, the only team in the East that really, really, truly scares me is Milwaukee.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. Giannis, the Greek freak. I mean, and he's got a good supporting cast.
So for me, like I look at the East, like Miami doesn't scare me a whole lot. Not in a 7-game series.
No, they can't hold on.
You got to remember that, like those games are so spaced out at that point. Like those Eastern Conference Final games are going to be 2-3 days apart. So no one's scheduling an off day.
Yeah.
You're going to have your starters play, 40 to 42 minutes. You're going to have those guys, your rotation hopefully at that point is, 8 guys deep. You're going to have DeAndre Jordan coming off the bench. You're going to have Green coming off the bench. You're going to have, who am I missing? I'm missing somebody.
Niang, probably for shooting.
Right? You're going to have 3 guys coming off the bench.
Yeah.
You don't need Korkmaz. You don't need Milton. Those guys hopefully don't see anything but garbage time
I hope not.
in the postseason. So I look at the East and I'm like, it's realistic to say that in a 7-game series, the one matchup that I would say is going to give them a run for their money is Milwaukee.
I agree. Yeah, that's how I see it.
So, Rich, anything else you want to talk about?
I'm just excited. Man, I just can't. The whole Ben Simmons thing, like the filing, the grievance, if something, and all that crap. Like, I'm so glad we're done with it. I'm so glad that we only have to deal with him a few more times, like this season, and then hopefully it all goes away by next year. But my question to you is, Don, do they really think that they got a superstar in return? Like a guy who you don't know when he's going to return. If he returns with, say, a few games left in the season, how are they going to mesh? How is he going to fit in? And what does he bring to the Nets that James Harden didn't bring to the Nets? That's like the whole thing that I don't understand, like,
Rich, if you
where they get that being a superstar mentality from.
If you're listening to the things that they're saying in New York, it's a lot of the stuff that it reminds me, like if you were to go back and to listen to Philly Sports Talk Radio 2.5 years ago. Sounds a lot the same, right? It's a lot of the conversation where they're literally talking themselves into all of the potential that it could be. But I think that they're
sounds like 17-year-old Rich and his girlfriend. Talking myself into this one.
Oh my God. But I feel like there's going to be a lot of buyer's remorse.
Been there, Don. Been there.
Haven't we all? Right?
Haven't we all in our younger days?
Like I think that they're talking themselves into the best case scenario and not bracing for impact of what could be a worst case scenario. That's just me. Rich, I saw when they had the game the other night, they had the Spectrum unis on.
Yeah.
And it made me think back to they flashed to a clip of the last game at the Spectrum.
Okay.
Rich, do you think that you could name anybody from the 2009 76ers? Let me give you a little bit of context here.
Okay.
The last game played at the Spectrum was against the Bulls on March 13th, 2009.
Okay.
It was sold out for 17,563 people.
That's small. Doesn't it seem small?
Spectrum wasn't that big. It wasn't.
Dude,
it wasn't.
As a kid,
Oh.
so much bigger.
Oh my God! As a kid, yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Ginormous. I used to see the Philadelphia Bulldogs, the professional roller hockey team.
The Bulldogs, the Wings.
Oh my God! All the teams.
Hey, coach.
Mo Cheeks.
Yeah, Maurice Cheeks.
Mo Cheeks.
All right.
Was Elton Brand on that team?
Elton Brand was on that team. He was not in the starting five, but yes.
He wasn't in the starting five?
He was not.
Samuel Dallenberg?
Starting center.
Starting center. So then you had to have Thad Young, right?
Correct.
Evan Turner. Wasn't he on that team?
Evan Turner was not on that team.
He wasn't on that team yet?
Not yet.
I know we had Thad Young because he was young.
He was young.
Dallenberg was our center.
Right.
Who was Thad Young was our small forward, right?
Yes. Power forward.
Power forward. So who's our
small forward is still in the league.
Oh, Robert Covington?
No.
Not Sarge.
No. He's old now.
Who is it?
Ring chaser.
He's
He wore a single-digit number. I know you're not good with numbers.
No, I'm not good with numbers. Like, I can visualize the team, but I know they weren't good. But he's a ring chaser. Is he on the Lakers?
I don't know who he's currently playing for now.
I don't know. You got to give me the name.
How about that one, Andre Iguodala?
Oh, shit. I forgot. Yeah. So he was like the superstar at the time. That's
he was like the number one when he should have been a number 3.
Yeah, or like a 6. Okay. Andre Iguodala, Dallenberg, Elton Brand was on that team. Thad Young, Michael Carter-Williams.
Not yet.
Not yet. He was who was our fucking point guard? God, the Sixers sucked during
played with the Nuggets.
Played with the Nuggets.
Amongst other teams.
Williams? No, it wasn't Darren Williams.
Lou Williams was on that team.
Lou Williams.
Mm-hmm.
But we didn't have Darren Williams at a point, did we?
Mm-mm.
No. Play with the Nuggets. I don't know.
How about that one, Andre Miller?
Oh, shit. I remember. Yeah. Oh, wow.
Yeah, and
Wow. Oh, my God. This team is coming back to me, and God, they were so bad.
the shooting guard. How about that Willie Green?
Willie, oh, my God, they were so terrible.
On the bench, Elton Brand, Maurice Spates,
Mo Spates.
Theo Ratliff.
Theo Ratliff was on the team then?
Theo Ratliff was, and Lou Williams.
Lou Will.
And a bunch of other no names. And just for posterity, for the Bulls, starting Tyrese Thomas, John Salmons, Joakim Noah, Derrick Rose, and
Jimmer Fredette.
Brandon Gordon.
Brandon Gordon. I remember Brandon.
Yeah.
Jesus. Man, that was terrible times.
That was
those teams.
And Rich, that was pre-process.
I know.
Right? That was 2009. That team made the playoffs. That team finished as the 6th seed and made the playoffs. How crazy is that?
Willie Green. Dude, those are names that I literally haven't heard.
Yeah, and
probably since 2009.
I got some names in the comments here. Adam, no Aaron McKee, no Eric Snow, no Chris Webber.
Yeah, I was going to say they were earlier.
Those were
2005, right?
Yeah. Yeah, those guys, that was.
So we got Chris Webber from the Kings in like 04, 05.
Correct.
And then we paid for him until like 2018.
Up until a couple years ago.
Up until 2018.
Up until a couple years ago.
Oh, my God. That was so funny.
Rich.
Yes.
Coach K is wrapping up his career.
Okay.
Give me your top 5. I didn't want to go all time.
Okay.
All time is there are a lot of historical names. I figured I'd go, since you and I are in the same kind of age range, top 5 coaches since 1980.
I'll go one, then you go one, because I got to lift one guy up. But the first one I'm going to say, which is not a popular opinion with a lot of people because he's kind of a piece of shit. But if I'm going college basketball coaches, I'm going Rick Pitino.
Okay.
He's a Louisville fan, and they suck, and they sucked after him. But he was a hell of a basketball coach.
I'm gonna go one for one here. I'm gonna go my one college basketball coach. I put Calipari on there.
Okay.
To see the way that he maximized that one and done and really turned it into a basketball factory and was able to sway and get guys into buy into that program, even though they were literally there for probably about 8 months. To me, I see, him at the upper echelon of college basketball coaches right now.
Okay. No, I agree. I'm going to go with another football.
Okay.
But I'm going to go with college, and we're going to go 84 to 88 from the U, Jimmy Johnson.
Oh, okay. And listen, you could argue, Rich, that even his success beyond, the U.
Well, he was a Cowboys coach, right?
Right. The way that.
Yeah, and I'm not giving him that. I'm giving him the U. I'm giving him
the U and nothing else.
The U and nothing else. That is it. That's how I will remember him.
Saban.
Yeah. No, I mean, all-time great. To me, it's just I'm thinking like outside the box. Like I agree with what your choices are.
Okay.
Because there's no doubt on that. I'm looking at like my favorite schools for like the people who I view. Because yes, Nick Saban, I would throw Nick Saban in there all day. But it's a fucking given. In my book, you give that guy that dude is the man. That guy is so good. And there's never controversy around his program and his name. Except when he went to be the head football coach of the Miami Football Dolphins and couldn't hack it. But that's not a lot of college coaches can. Fuck you, Urban Meyer. I hate them. I hate both of them. I hate them. But I like that choice.
Listen, and there's a name in the comments, Mike, and I'm gonna just skip to this one because this one was on my list too. Jay Wright. Jay Wright has just been a guy who, for not for nothing, did the complete opposite of Calipari.
Yeah.
Right? Embraced I'm going to take a guy as much as I can for 4 years. I'm going to go to that second tier player, but maximize that player's potential and turn, what is a small school on the main line into, a perennial contender every year. And I'll give him credit. They play games, hard games early on in the year. You saw them, you go out west early in the season this year and play UCLA and play top tier talent, and then come back and play their schedule and play well. So, Mike, you're right. Jay Wright's got to be on that list.
Yeah. No, definitely.
Who else you got?
So for baseball, I am going to go with. I hate the Yankees, but Joe Torre was a great coach. But if I'm going to go with a better coach who is also a racist drunk, I'm going to go with Tony La Russa.
So those were the two that I was wavering on, right? I kind of settled on Torre, but the one thing that always stuck to me was I remember it might have been about a year ago we were talking about, the fact that like you and I probably could have managed those early 2000s Yankee program.
I could manage the Yankees now, Don, and be way better than Aaron Boone. It's not that hard to put a lineup of Murderers Row 2.0 in and just be like, hey, go out there and throw hard. Like, it's really not that difficult when you have that much talent. So if we want to go with who I think is a top 5 baseball coach, and for the work that he did in Tampa, I'm going to go Joe Maddon, because Joe Maddon's a phenomenal coach, and that Tampa Bay team that beat the Phillies, right? They beat us. The team that beat us. I mean, that team was not a high pay bowl.
No.
Bunch of young studs. Joe Maddon's a good coach. Like I like Joe Maddon, but is he a top 5 coach? No, but I'm just going to give him credit that he's that good coach. But a top 5 coach in my eyes for baseball, yes. Yeah. In this category, no. So you have to go La Russa. I'm going La Russa over Tony. Okay, Mike. Fuck you. All right. Overrated. Cool.
All right.
That's fine.
The last guy on my list is a layup, but Phil Jackson and what he was able to do in Chicago and LA. Even though you could argue he's a product of his environment, the fact that he had
love you too, bud.
Jordan and Pippen and Kobe and Shaq, and I think the underrated part about Phil Jackson was the contributions that he was able to get from guys further on down the roster, being able to convince a guy like Dennis Rodman to, just go out and just be a rebounding and defensive machine, to turn around and then have, in LA, you convince Robert Horry to just stand out in a 3 and hit big shot after big shot.
Yeah. I'll go Pop. I'll go Popovich, because, like I said, I like the whole top 5 coaches, and we're both going on, the guys that we like. Phil Jackson, of course. I mean, probably number 1. Like, let's be real. But if I'm going to give props to a top 5 coach since 1980 in his respected sport, I have to go with Popovich. I mean, the Admiral, and was Big Fundamental.
Yeah.
I mean, that team, like, one of my favorite teams to watch was that Spurs team with David Robinson, Tim Duncan, Tony Parker,
Ginobili.
like, who is it? Bruce Smith? Bruce Smith's a football player. It's Bruce Bowen. Like, I really, man, that was a fun team to watch and fundamentally sound. You
Willie
throw
Rose
Steve
was
Kerr,
on that team from Drexel.
yeah, you could throw Steve Kerr in that conversation right now, like
Yeah,
in top
you
5
could.
basketball. It's like one of those things where, yeah, you have Steph and you have Clay and you had KD, great. You've seen him suffer without that, but the team still played hard. But his coaching philosophy, Pat Riley.
Yeah, Pat Riley's a good name.
I like Spoelstra. I think Spoelstra is a great basketball mind and a great basketball coach. So, I don't know, man. You could throw so many in there, and that's why I like this conversation, especially when it comes to football, because top 5 coaches since 1980, you can throw in, obviously, Belichick, the GOAT. You can throw in Cowher, Tomlin. Belichick's the GOAT. Why do you have to mention Mike? He is a top 5 coach. Nobody wants us to talk about Belichick, but everybody knows he's the GOAT.
Well, and you could also argue that a lot of what has happened up there is tainted in some way. You know, he is able to get talent from guys way, way, way down on the roster, guys that were not talented or didn't have talent in prior destinations. I think,
it's
Belichick is a guy that you could have in that conversation. Absolutely.
It goes to say a lot when the disciples from your coaching tree can't follow and replicate your success.
Right.
Because it takes a certain person to demand that. When you have a winning pedigree and you have the reputation that Bill Belichick has, you can demand that from players. But when you have the Joe Judges, the Matt Patricias, and the Josh McDaniels trying to do it, they're going to get walked over because you were the assistant to the guy who won those chips. Like, let's be real. I think Belichick is there's something that's going to immortalize him in football. And I don't know if it's the dude's a mystery because he seems like he could be so fun when you see him off the camera, and he seems like a very fun and personal guy. But then you see him like football mind, he's a dick.
Right.
So it's like there's some mystery behind it, but he's going to be immortalized in football for, the end of time.
Yeah,
so good for you, Belichick. Good for you.
And Mike's asking about hockey coaches. I mean, in the last 40 years, all
right, guys, this ends our show. Drunk on broad. I'm out.
The hard part for me with hockey is the guys move so often. Like the guys are they're you've got guys like Joel Quenneville, you've got guys like Mike Keenan, you've got guys that have stacked up wins. It's so hard for me to say there is one guy because they literally fluctuate from team to team. Within 15 games, there could be a change in coaching just because. Go ahead, Mike. Or Rich, yes?
Question to you, because I don't really know that much about hockey, but here's how it seems to me, right, when I see hockey teams winning. Because I don't really know any hockey coaches because, like you said, there's nobody who's been like, oh, he's the longest tenured hockey coach in 17 years for the Anaheim Ducks. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
The success is based more upon the players than it is the coaching, because I feel like the players in hockey, especially with the salary cap being what it is, kind of dictate more than what the coaching does. Because let's be real, a bunch of us can go out on the ice and skate and play hockey and be right? We could be the best until one team has guys who aren't so good, but then they have Ovechkin come play.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like in hockey, just from me being the casual viewer, you have the star power. That coach is going to be, he's a good coach. But you also have Connor McDavid, who's lights out. You also have Ovechkin, who's lights out. You also had Gretzky for 15 years.
Right.
Of course you're going to be a good coach when you have generational type players in hockey with a sport that is so bound by a salary cap,
right,
that is so limited. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's how I feel. I don't know any hockey head coaches. I really don't.
Yeah, no, listen, Mike, but Barry Trotz is a guy who's been really in the NHL. to be honest, Mike, this might knock my hockey street cred down a little bit, but I don't really know about Herb Brooks' success as a coach other than that 1980 Olympic team. All that to be discussed on Friday night when Mike joins me for a episode of Drunk on Ice.
Ooh, fun times.
And Rich, here's a little preview. We're going to be joined by some of the guys from the Buds All Day Maple Leafs podcast.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, we've got we've got some guys coming on
on
Friday night. Hey, maybe we'll crack a couple Molsons.
Oh, you know those Canadian beers hit like moonshine? Hell yes. Hell yes. Hell yes.
Oh, listen, anybody who's tuning in who wants to switch over when we're done, Ovechkin and McDavid are playing on TNT. There we go. Rich, anything else for any other coaching stuff before we go into final thoughts?
No, I mean, I pretty much hit mine in the head.
All right. Your final thoughts, Rich?
Well, as I was telling some people today at work, my long-term care patients, never have a bad day. I like to leave my shit at the door when I get into work, and I like to leave my shit at the door when I come home from work. It's easy to say life is too short, right?
Yeah.
But it really is. I look at some of my patients, and they're here today, and they're gone tomorrow. It happened to me 3 times in 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Is it sad? Yes. Does life go on? Of course. But leave it at home. Leave it wherever and deal with it however you have to. But don't ever have a bad day. Don't let things ruin your day. Don't go into the day with such a shitty attitude that you can't even say hello to somebody who's walking down the hallway. Do everything with a smile. It might suck, but don't let anybody take that smile from you. Because once they take the smile from you, they're going to take everything from you. Don't have a bad day. And I'm not saying that you can't have a bad day. I'm saying don't allow yourself, because some things in life are so minuscule. People worry about money and people worry about having things and health and all that. But at the end of the day, if you're not happy, no one else can make you happy. So you have to look into that mindset of just be positive, have a good attitude, and don't have that bad day. Yeah. Money comes, money goes. You can't spend it when you're dead. So have fun while you're living, right? Do things that bring joy to your life and just smile. You don't know what that smile can do for others who are having a bad day. And if you see someone who's having a bad day, ask them what's up. Like, hey, why are you upset? I'm very confrontational when I'm at work with my patients because I want the best from them. And I see them bring down, like, why are you crying? Like, what is wrong? Like, I go into dad mode, and I probably should be a lot nicer, but I'm like, why are you crying? You're alive. So what? You can't get up today. We'll get up tomorrow. We'll figure this out. We'll do it. We'll do it together. Motivate, inspire, be a good person. As Don always says, be a good person. Yeah. And don't have a bad day, because you don't know what can happen on that ride home.
It's true.
Just live it. Just have fun while you're here. Have fun while you're here. And just be a good person.
You're right, Rich. And listen, and speaking of that, like, part of that, what you're talking about is accountability, right? And holding yourself accountable. This week, seeing something, I saw something in the NFL that just screamed lack of accountability. When I saw what happened with Calvin Ridley.
Oh my God.
And to see how the NFL decided to handle this. You basically spit in the face of anybody that has gone through any kind of domestic situation. You sent a message to the NFL fans, teams, players, that gambling on a game is more important than not beating the shit out of a woman. I can't for the life of me understand why betting on a game would get a guy suspended for 17 games.
But hitting a woman gets you 6.
But Ray Rice beat the crap out of his fiance on camera and got suspended for 2 games.
Greg Hardy.
Greg Hardy beat the living daylights out of his girlfriend 4 games. Adrian Peterson got convicted of felony child abuse 6 games. Josh Gordon smokes weed 6 games.
Years. And then years.
Calvin Ridley put a $1,500 parlay on FanDuel and
When he was away
suspended.
from the team.
When he was away from the team, his team wasn't involved, and he got suspended for 17 games. Make that make sense for me. You had an opportunity when all of those things came up to send a message, and you didn't. And then they send this message that clearly says the on-field product is paramount to anything. And that is including how your players act on and off the field. That part made me sick because it screams in the face of everything that we live to be good people. And it didn't make sense for me. It made me insanely frustrated. I can't. So you know what, Rich? Yeah, we're gonna end with some positive stuff here. Mike's loving the positivity. Chris, we really appreciate all your support. And you're right. Listen, have fun. You got it. We got to end on a positive note. So on that, listen, our sponsors are scrolling across the bottom. If you need sports themed sunglasses, Team Clicks is your people. If you need a new U.S. made watch, La Terrain are your people. If you're trying to find us on YouTube, hit that like and subscribe button. If you're going on your streaming platforms or your podcast platforms, go find us there. We're on Tiki Live Thursdays and Saturdays at noon.
Tiki Live.
Tiki Live. Be on the lookout, Rich. I think the Belly Up Network, shout out to them. They're doing they're going to do a March bracket, podcast bracket. So
shout out to 16, baby.
Shout out to. So you're saying there's a chance?
We got to win the qualifying match to get in.
We're playing in the playing game.
We're playing in the playing.
Oh God, Rich. With that, peace out, Philly. It's been real.
Philly, be good.